Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to another episode of Go Figure. This is our 33rd episode in the last 5 months. We're very excited as well. Even more excited today because we have the amazing Kass Gillis online with us today, who is going to share our journey. Now, this woman is nothing short of astounding. She's, number 4 Mr Olympia. She's won the most recent Arnold Classics as well. She has her own business. She's like a powerhouse mum. She trains, she's doing it all. And today we know how much everyone here in Australia and around the world love her. And you've been asking about her. So we've gone out, we've reached out, and here she is today. Kass, thank you so much for coming on board, and thanks for taking the time out.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Now, to no one's surprise, you're an incredibly decorated wellness pro and Olympian in our sport, and a great advocate for the Ifbb and MPC. And one of the things we love to do as well in our podcast is not just find out who the athlete is on stage, but it's to find out who Kass is as the person, and the journey, and where it started and why it started, and what is the purpose and your driving force in this sport or for your life moving forward. So I'm going to hand it over to you, and this is your platform now, and you get to share it with all of your fans around the world.
Thank you. I don't really know where to start. I guess my journey started shortly after having my son. When he was about 5-6 months old, I kind of wanted to start training to keep myself busy. I struggled with some postpartum depression and anxiety, so I really needed something to kind of overcome that. So I started training in my living room, just doing like HIIT workout videos and stuff like that. And then from there, I got interested in weight training. So I got like some of those old school, barbells that you have to like screw on the
Yep.
And they're so annoying because they just keep going, and you're like, are they ever going to tighten up?
Yes, exactly. So I started using those in my garage, and then eventually I ended up going to the gym, and it kind of it progressed from there. People would ask me if I competed, but I didn't, obviously. I put on muscle very quickly, so I kind of looked muscular fairly fast. And then I decided to give it a try because it was something way out of my comfort zone, and I needed that extra push. And for show, I started in the figure category, and I came first at a regional show. And then from there, I did my first national show, and I came second. And after that, so that was 2019. And then February 2020, I made the decision to fly to Colombia, Medellin, and I got my pro card there and came overall. And then right after that, the pandemic hit. So I feel like it affected everybody quite a bit, especially in the bodybuilding community, because it's like you don't realize how much you take things for granted and how quickly things can just be taken away. So I'm definitely a lot more grateful for the IFBB and all of the opportunities we have now. But yeah, I kind of just jumped right into wellness. I'd always loved the category. So I did my first show, and I placed 9th, and then we got feedback from the judges. I was pretty disappointed, but we made those tweaks, and I think 3 weeks later we came into Chicago Pro, and we got our qualification for the Olympia. So I didn't realize how big of a show Chicago was when I was doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a big show, so it was so surreal. Yeah, and then we prepped for my Olympia, but I came in a bit too hard and shredded for the look that they wanted at that time.
Yeah.
It's kind of like they're going down that direction now anyways.
Now, I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so we just kept competing and getting more and more feedback to kind of find the look that the judges were looking for. Like after my first Olympia, I did like 4 shows right after, back to back, and you just keep going and getting feedback and improving. And I think that's how you climb the ladder. So many girls will do one show and then not get the results that they wanted, and then just go into their off season. Sometimes you just got to keep showing up, and the judges will see you showing up and making improvements. And that's how I've made my way up, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? So when you went to British Columbia to compete in the national where you got your pro card, that was as a figure competitor, yeah?
Yeah, so I didn't get my pro card my first national show in Canada. I got it in Medellin, Colombia,
That's right,
like 4 or
Columbia.
5 months after. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then as a figure competitor, did you go, okay, I've got my pro card now, I'm in the Ifbb Pro League. Am I going to go straight over to wellness, or did you compete as a pro figure girl first?
I was planning on competing as pro figure. Like I really wanted to try it. But I really love the wellness category, and my coach now, he reached out to me. Like wellness is the reason I started training. Like I was following all of the Brazilian girls and stuff when it was big out there, and I loved like the big legs. That's what I wanted. And my coach randomly reached out to me asking if I had considered it, and so it kind of gave me that push to give it a try. And yeah, I never competed professional in figure.
So you stayed in the wellness department.
Yeah, I went straight to wellness.
That's awesome. And during like your prep, like being a mum in prep, like right after this podcast today, you're off to your son's, game and what have you. I can relate to that as well, being a mum myself. Like, how did you make it work as a parent?
I don't think I could do it without the support of my husband and family, honestly. Like I see moms like you said, you're a single mom, right? I can't see myself doing that. It's crazy to me, but props to the moms that can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And this is something that's quite common that we hear throughout the Olympians as well. It's like, we're not self-made. There is a team that is behind us, that is supporting us on, whether it be our sponsors, our partners, our mums, our dads, our coaches, your own friends, that are your fans and everything that are keeping you going. What would you say has been your greatest challenge from, when you started your journey and making yourself or taking yourself through the ranks to where you are today?
I guess one thing I was thinking about before was how hungry you are when you first start out in the sport. And then the longer and longer you do it, it kind of comes down to straight discipline because you don't have that that fire, like it does come here and there. But I remember like my first competition, like you have that feeling and you're just so excited about it. And now it's really just become a lifestyle and a way of life and just getting things done. And I love the sport because it brings out different sides of you. It just makes you a better person all around, I think. Pushes you a lot.
Yeah.
And what ways do you think that it makes you a better person? I'm really curious as to what your perspective on that.
It kind of just translates because you have to do things a specific way, a certain time, the discipline and really pushing yourself. I think when you do that in certain parts of your life, it translates to the other parts, if that makes sense.
That makes complete sense. Yeah, I really resonate with that. Yeah, it's kind of like once you've developed, I guess once you're pushing yourself in the gym, and you realize that you're breaking through these barriers, these small, they might only be small barriers. It might just be 5 kilos extra on a bar in a certain movement one day. But it kind of builds that self-trust and that belief in yourself, doesn't it?
For sure.
And so not only are you a mum with, an amazing, support crew around you as well, you're also a businesswoman. Okay. And so one of the things that, you have as well is you've got the KG jeans that are, that I didn't even know about until I started looking at them as well. And so if anyone that's out there, I think it's at KG jeans on the gram. Is that right?
Yeah, there's an underscore after it, but
Yeah.
So
Like I'm actually,
underscore.
yeah, I'm honestly like, I'm just mesmerized by this, because it's like, okay, what else can I fit into my big pie, as where you are? And it's like, okay, well, I've got, I'm a professional athlete. I have commitment to sponsors. I have commitment to my family, and potentially clients as well. And now I'm just going to add something else in there as well. How did that all come about? What inspired you to get that up and running?
I just really wanted to create a jean that I would actually wear, I guess. Like, even when they have the stretchy jeans that you can buy, I still found myself living in leggings. Like, nothing really quite was as comfortable as that. So my jean is it's a 4-way stretch. So it basically feels like a legging, but looks like a jean. And yeah, it's super comfortable, high-waisted, and it kind of like tapers in, because most of us have like a bit of a smaller waist and then like bigger legs that are athletes.
And we can
Yeah, and
we can get them over our calves, right?
Yes.
Wow. So I imagine that would have been like a huge process of, going through the whole process of like the actual the cut of the jean, and working with the people making the product to kind of come up with the right proportions and that type of thing. Because it's been one of I love jeans, but finding a pair of jeans that actually fit over my calves and then don't swim around my waist is like very difficult. So how did you come up with that? Like, what was the process there?
I basically would start with, it's hard because I didn't have a background in, like sewing or fabrics or anything like that. So I would be in contact with multiple different manufacturers. I would try, there was different methods I used. Like, one of them would be like order one of their stock samples that they had and then like make adjustments to it, and then try different fabrics. And then like problems would come up along the way that you wouldn't think of. And it was about over a year where I finally like got the perfect fit. And now it's like, what else can I do? What colors can I add? And it's just so many things that you don't think about when you start a business. And I need to put more into it, but it's hard to do everything, like the marketing and all of that.
Yeah. I actually just followed your page and I'm looking at them. They
How
are super
cool are
cool.
they?
I'm like I'm so impressed. So this is it.
Yep.
And really, really beautiful. You can
Thank
see.
you.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
very cool.
girls,
I'm excited.
I think we have to buy a pair. Okay, we're going to buy a pair. We're going to model them here.
Yeah.
I will send you guys a pair. Like, I need to also figure out how to get them to different countries too. That's a big thing. Like, I ship to the US, but I've never tried shipping to Australia, so that could be a whole other market once I figure that out, maybe.
Oh God, yeah. Because we've got a lot of girls in Australia love wellness. You are so like, you're so well known here.
That's what I've been telling her. Yeah,
I know. Like, you had actually, I must ask you if you would do a shout out to a guy called Cam. He has been at Lisa and I get you on this podcast. My lord. He's like every few weeks. Hey, would you guys be able to get Kass on? She seems really cool. I follow her. I'm such a big fan. But yes, Cameron from here in Victoria, Melbourne, is a massive fan of yours. So I know he'll be just sitting here today in his element.
That's awesome. Shout out to Cam. I talk to him sometimes.
Here you go, Cam. But like distribution in different countries is something that's crazy. And I've got a friend who distributes products overseas as well. And sometimes it's all about finding just that like a small person that has like a warehouse where you can store your things at, and then hiring someone that can kind of, if there's Australian orders, for example, go, here's your orders for the week, and shipping it out. So I mean, happy to make some inquiries for you around that as well. We have a few people that we can probably reach out to. you know, it's, and then, you know, all you need is a couple of, you know, as you know, ambassadors here. And like, I know something like that would go gangbusters here because it's really hard.
Oh,
Most of
it's
our
very
clothing comes from Asia. And
It does, and so it's tiny. It's really tiny sizing. Yeah, a lot of the clothes in Australia are manufactured over there, very small sizing, which we're all like big, tall people out here in Australia. Well, a lot of us are, and it's like,
well, yeah, I'm a short ass. I'm only 5
yeah,
foot.
she's little. She's little.
But I got bum and I got thighs and I got calves. And if I buy an Asian size, you go in, it's like, oh, this is a small. I'm like, I literally can't get it over my big toe. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I feel a little bit big, or what's happened is like I've shrunk. But yeah, I'm an extra large in Asian sizes, you know, and I'm only in Australian like 60 kilos. I don't know if that's 130 pounds ish or something like that. So it's not overly huge, you know. I'm quite, you know, small, but and that's the thing. And then you wash them, and then they shrink, and then, you know, so all of that as well. But yeah, when it comes to like, you know, leggings and pants and sports bras for us girls with the back.
Lats, hello, we have lats. Come on.
So that's great. Like we'll definitely
Yeah.
when we you know, put you up, which you'll go on Monday, we'll definitely you know, put your jeans down there and get the girls down here starting to support that, which no doubt I know they will. So that's awesome. So here we go. We're going to take another angle now and look at your, you know, present moment and future moving forward, because this is clearly something that you're incredibly passionate about. But we all have a why we're doing it, and a purpose that sometimes is bigger than ourselves, a legacy that we want to leave. When you think about yourself in that aspect, where is your journey going? Like, what's your purpose? Why are you here doing this?
I guess it all started, my goal was to be a personal trainer before it was competing and all of that. So I really just wanted to help women feel confident in their bodies and stuff like that. So I guess my goal is to still help people, obviously using competing as a platform and building my brand. It kind of, you know, goes with everything. So it's the best feeling, like when someone tells you that you inspire them or motivate them or something. That's keeps me going, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know, along the way, have you found that you, like, I don't know about maybe yourself, but even myself, you have found that you have been how can we say, like, criticized, or you're so manly, or, you know, like, you know, how do you deal with criticisms both within the industry, which I don't really find I get, or that, you know, where, you know, confronted with that. No,
Sort
it's
of not
more,
as much within, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's
more
more
like
like coming from people who don't know about the
understand.
sport, or yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I didn't really experience it as much until recently. Um, if you're talking about like just people who don't work out or compete, like it's the odd comment here or there. But recently, since the Arnold, I've gotten quite a bit of, you know, like you get that top spot and now there's more attention on you. And that's when all of the lovely comments started to come in. So
Yeah,
it's hard to deal with, but I recognize that you got to have some thick skin in this sport. So again, it's going to make me mentally stronger. And yeah.
yeah, you know, because you look at things like that, because you do. I think whenever you're at the top of the food chain, and, you know, respectfully speaking, you're at the top of the food chain, like, that's it. You are going to be on that pedestal, and people are going to be looking at you. And whether you're an athlete, an actor, a very successful business person, or what have you, there's always going to be those that don't like that, or might be jealous of that, or have their own opinions around that in order to justify, you know, themselves and their own insecurities and what have you. They find that they need to pull those around them, or those at that level down a notch, to kind of make it comfortable for them. So, when you say, you have to have a little bit of thick skin, what process do you go through? Because like we're human as well. Like you can get that and go, geez, fuck, that hurt, like that stung, who are they to say what have you about me when they don't really know who I am? How do you deal with that?
That's a really tough one. I don't even know how I deal with it. You kind of just try to push it out of your mind or take a little break from social media for the day, but it's tough. Like those words sometimes like echo in your head. I can't say it's easy, but
yeah.
Yeah.
We've all experienced it, and it's true. Sometimes you need some time out to reground yourself, and to look into your own core values and who you are and what you represent, and why you're doing this again and your purpose, and choose to resonate on a different level rather than yes, catching what they've given you, but also giving it back to them with love, not having to go, well, I don't need to stoop to that level to make me feel good about myself, or you making me feel the way that I do about myself. Okay. Instead, I'm going to give it back with a bit of love. I mean, that's how I deal with it anyway, but yeah, I mean, we all have different ways. And yeah, you got people coming up in this sport, young girls coming up in the sport. And I'm looking at it now, and Rose and I are in our 40s. And, we're seeing girls that are, old enough to be our daughters coming up and competing. And I was like, oh my gosh, has life happened so fast as well? And you're dealing with these young, innocent, but also enthusiastic and girls that you almost want to cradle and protect and cocoon a little bit, and be able to support them and inspire them and give them that right mentorship on how to deal with not just the good times, because that's not where it counts. It's how you deal and overcome the bad times or the challenges that is actually going to elevate you, because every level has a devil, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think having like a mentor or a solid coach from the start is huge, because I know there's just so many things that can go wrong if not done proper ways, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, which kind of leads into this next step in terms of coaching, right? Because clearly, that's something that you're very good at as well. And there's, to have longevity in this sport, which is something Rose and I bring up a lot. There is a certain way and a process to go about it to be successful. And in a society where we want everything yesterday or last year, sometimes processes can be cut short, or people look for shortcuts.
Yeah.
Look for shortcuts, don't manage their expectations, maybe might submit themselves to extreme dieting, overuse of certain supplementations, overtraining. So in your advice to anyone that's listening today, here in Australia or around the world, because we've reached people worldwide over the last few months doing this. I think it's like 10,000 people we've reached, which is really cool. What advice would you give to those that are new coming into the sport that, like you said at the start, had that real motivation and that juice, and sometimes we can get caught up in the emotion of it all, and understanding the process that is going to give you that longevity in the sport, if that's what you want?
Yeah, I guess just not rushing things. Just really like taking your time, making sure that you're healthy, because in the end, I don't want to, I guess it's a hobby, or it's your life versus, you can really, even mentally, it can be tough mentally if someone's not prepared for like seeing their body so shredded and then coming into their first off season. It can be really mentally hard on a lot of people. So
yeah,
there's
I think we've all been there. We've all had a first time like that, and it happens, doesn't it? Like every comp where you're the best you've ever looked, and you've come off the other side of that, there's this part of you that, you know, like to hold on to it for a little bit longer, just enjoy it.
And yeah. And don't you always, I know when I'm right about ready to set up on set, I could live like this forever. I could just keep doing this. I could just like, I could look like this all the time. And then you realize, yeah, I can't. Actually, that's just not realistic at all. But when you're first starting out, that's what you think. You think you can, I can just keep living like this. And
yeah, and it's not healthy to live like that, obviously. So it's important that your hormones are good and everything's good.
And so when you're working with someone that is looking at coming into the sport and what have you, touching on hormones as well, what process do you go through with your athletes, or do you recommend people to go through with their coaches as more of like an onboarding process to start with?
So I mostly do lifestyle clients. I have a couple of contest prep clients, and it's their first show, so that's very exciting for me. I guess like I don't know a ton of stuff about blood work, but I do know that there is people that do. So I would recommend them to somebody, like before starting everything, to talk to somebody who knows about, you know, blood work and hormones and get all of that checked. And less is more, in my opinion. Like if you don't have to, you know, kill yourself, diet down crazy, do it slowly. Yeah.
You know, it's you know, I think the process that you use for the general population, I'd say about 95% of my clients is general population, and 5% are contest prep clients as well. And when you're working with contest prep clients versus general population, it's a lot more intense, and there's a lot more time and energy and effort as a coach that's put into that. Because you're literally building a Picasso here, aren't you? It's like a Monet, a masterpiece. And there are so many intricacies that are involved to kind of like getting someone's mental, emotional, spiritual, nutritional, hormonal, and physical pillars of health all idling at the same time. Because, you know, if one's too low, you're only as strong as your weakest link. It brings the others down. So you're like a conductor when you're a contest prep coach, and there are so many facets that are involved in that, and it's about knowing what to do. And blood work is one of them. Some of us do know how to read them and have had the training, but making sure as well that you've got the right support team around you if you're a client looking, or someone that is looking to enter the world of competing, that you know has that support and that team that can support you, because it takes a team to build, you know, an incredible, you know, athlete and physique as well. You know, I'm sure you can attest to that, being one yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, you know, one of the things that we do, because we understand we've got all places to be today as well, is when, you know, at the end of all of our podcasts, what we love to do is we love to ask all of our people that come on, what are the 3 tips that you give to anyone that's listening here today that's looking at entering the world of bodybuilding, irrespective of divisions and categories, that will help them get off to a good start?
3 tips. One of them is don't expect it to be easy. Another one, do your research on coaches and coaches, trainers, all of that before you jump in. And maybe talk to somebody who has competed and get their experience, and kind of make your own judgment if it's something you really want to put yourself into, because it's not easy.
It's definitely not easy, because sometimes we just see all the glitz and the glamour that's, you know, on top of the world, so to speak. You know, you see the photo shoots and you see the glitz and the glam and the lights and the cameras and the action and the, you know, all that. But like, that is literally a body for 5 minutes, you know, that's up on that stage. It's like, on the other side of that, literally, we go through the valley of the shadow of death and back again to and come through to the other side. And we generally will have more down days than we do good days, but it's how we handle them. So I think that advice is awesome for anyone that's looking at, you know, going through the journey or entering the world of bodybuilding. But more importantly, Kass, we want to thank you for your time. We know your time's very, very precious, and we couldn't have been more excited to get you on here today. And we would love to get you on in the future, after maybe your next big show as well, and to discuss that and to celebrate you. And we think you're absolutely amazing. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.